Good evening. What I'm going to do tonight is use this spectrometer and my laptop to plot and take photographs of some real spectra. I've got two high voltage supplies and an array of discharge tubes. I've got a helium-1 set up here, which I'm going to use to calibrate the software, and I've got an oxygen-1 set up here. I've got an array of other discharge tubes, so we've got about 5 or 6 different elements. So, photograph and plot the spectra. We are going to first have a little tour of the equipment. So I'm going to come and grab the camera and show you what we've got here. We've got high voltage power supplies at the moment. They're not switched on. And here's the helium discharge tube. I've actually set the spectrometer up ready for the first measurement. And here's the oxygen discharge tube. That's the laptop. I'm going to be using the spectrograph, or it's actually called spectrograph software, to get the data from the spectrometer, which, by the way, is pretty much a box with a slit at one end, a diffraction grating inside it, and this camera sensor of a webcam inside it as well. So what I'm going to do first is turn the lights off, turn the helium spectral lamp on, and let's see if we can see anything on this, which is showing actually what the sensor inside the spectrometer is seeing right now. So let's have a look. I'm going to turn the lights off. All of them. And we're going to go over here. The laptop screen, I'm going to dim it just slightly, but it's not going to make that much of a difference. And I'm going to turn this high voltage supply on. So there's the helium discharge tube, and look at what we can see here. I'm just going to set this down and turn the brightness back up, and to adjust the helium tube so that that's as clear as possible. You can see here that we've got a range of spectral lines in the visible part of the spectrum. Now what I'm going to do is place the images or insert the images into the video with a suitable title. What I'm going to do first while I'm still recording is use the software. So we've got this spectrograph software. Now I think I'm connected to the spectrometer already. So if I click acquire, what I get is this. And you can see I've got a number of peaks here, and what this has plotted is intensity against pixel row number on the camera sensor. So what I've got to do now is calibrate the x-axis. And this is where I'm going to use another device to get up a helium spectrum. So I'm going to go backwards because I know I've got one here. Hopefully you can see this. I've got a picture of a real, or a helium spectrum. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to match the peaks which are visible in the real spectrum here to the peaks on this diagram. So I need to identify them and type the right wavelengths in. So what I'll do is I'll leave the camera here recording, and you can watch what I'm doing. I'm going to calibrate the x-axis, and you can see that it's found several of the peaks, because obviously they rise a significant intensity from baseline. And then I'm going to identify all 6 of them, type in those peaks. So I'll speed through that bit. Okay, so I've typed those all in. I'm going to calculate and then apply. And then I'm going to click calibrate x-axis again. And now you can see that it's changed the axis down here so that it's reading in millimeters. Okay, so that gives me a real helium spectrum from the helium lamp. And neon comes out. So this is now neon that's this tube's full of. This is a really nice color. Make sure that's relatively secure. You'll see what I mean when I turn it on. So lights off again. Now watch this. This is beautiful. Look at that. Beautiful. So that's definitely brighter than the oxygen. Let's put the spectrometer right up to it. So again, you can actually possibly see me this time. So I'm going to put the spectrometer right up close to it. Might need to rotate this, both retort stands a little bit. And then let's turn back to the laptop and acquire again. So you can see here that let's just center this a bit better. Look at that neon spectrum. Now that's complicated. Lots of transitions possible. Let's have a look at the iPad. And now, let's have a look at, instead of helium, if I can find the right letters in the dark, let's look at neon. And look at this. So as you can see, neon is quite a complicated spectrum. Okay, so far so good. So we've had helium, neon. I'm going to now do oxygen, argon, hydrogen. And what I'll do is into the video, I'm going to cut in some way the photograph of the spectrum, the plot of the real spectrum, and possibly a photograph of the discharge tube as it appears when it's lit. Okay? Hello, what I have here is a fluorescent tube. This fluorescent tube is set up so that you can see the mercury vapor inside it without the coating. It's emitting mainly in the UV. Up here we've got the coating on, and what's happening is that the coating is absorbing the UV, which is being emitted by the mercury vapor as a current travels through it, and then it's being re-emitted in the form of visible light. Okay, so that's a process called fluorescence. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a spectrum of this and then put it up so you can see it, and then a spectrum of this using the spectrometer.